I've got the fuel pump and I put it in the spot where I want it to sit, and the way the lines stick out there and go, it's sort of like it's important to me that it looks right and it looks tidy or symmetrical, whatever. It just got to sit right. So I play around with them until I found what sort of works, and this is pretty well how I did it. I'll just take this off and show you how it works. Oops. Then we have the little thing over there. That comes off. Now, this rest nest of cables and stuff all has a purpose, and I'll go through what they are. Now, these two come from the tank. It's a reserve and a main line, so that goes into the tap. Out of that tap, reserve or main, comes normally to the carburetor, but this time it goes round and down. There it is, back there. Trying to get that light in there, to that fuel filter, because they recommend you have a fuel filter before the pump, out of the fuel filter into the pump, pumped, out of the pump, up and around, up underneath here, because I want it below the wires, so in case something leaks or it tracks down there, it goes to the frame, not through the wires. And then it will go to my second filter, which they recommend you have a filter after the pump, and that then goes to the carburetor. Now, all that carburetor stuff, I'm going to have to rethink my whole NOS setup, because now I have pressurized fuel. I don't need that vacuum setup I set up. I'll probably still use the same thing, but I just don't need the, I've got to rethink it all. So I'm not there yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now, I'll set the camera up and I'll show you, because I haven't got this quite connected to the second fuel filter yet. I've just got it to a tap, and I'll put that on main, and it'll squirt fuel out the end there. And let's have a look, see if I can do that without this is going to go horribly wrong. Well thought out plan here. I was going to set the camera up, and there you go. That's just sitting there. This is not going to go well. Here we go. You ready? Oh, is that even turned on? Let's see. And which way is it on? I'm trying to read it through the iPad. On is this way. Oops. There we go. So that's on. You ready? It's going to go bad. Oh, come on, it's not long enough. There we go. A bit of a yank on there. Now, I've got that set up. It's just that ice cream bucket sitting between the gear lever and the foot peg in the air. What could possibly go wrong? So you ready? Power on. And that is I see the problem. They turn this on too. There we go. That is a reasonable amount of flow. I'm going to turn this off. It's starting to fall down. It's supposed to be a 1 to 2 psi system, which means it's really low pressure. You can't get much lower. Most of the ones you buy are around 4 or 8 or something like that, 4 to 8. Okay, so that'll now get connected back up to that. I'll run into there. And later on, I can do all sorts of stuff when it comes to the NOS. But first, I've got to get that carby sorted, then the NOS. I just found another teething problem. I had it running here just after I did that demonstration of the new fuel pump. I thought I'd give it a run and see how it went, and it was all working fine. But I heard this funny noise, and I was tracking it around with my ears, and then I noticed the vacuum gauge is not working. And I squeezed the vacuum line to see if it made any difference. It didn't really make any difference, and I just sort of grabbed this lightly and pulled on it, and the little variable valve thingy just broke clean in half. So, I have to find something a bit better than what I've got here to do that job. I guess these are all teething problems, and find the weakest link until you got it sorted out. I've done my Honda brake swap. This is now the master cylinder offer 2015 Honda CB125E. They made 1 million of them, which means I can get parts for it easy and no problem. Now, it was black, so I did the same trick I did before. Nissan branded brakes, so all good. Now, there was a little problem, and I'll show that in another little section. So I'll show that there. Now, moving on. As far as the caliper goes, that was a little bit difficult because you can see that's where the original bolts are, and down the bottom. So it was never meant to be here. Now the ones I got, the Chinese ones, unbranded, weren't that good. But it comes with this one here. Get that round the right way. That goes in there like that. Bolts in there, and that's the sliders. Now, that one goes back and so it's beautiful because it's, Honda. This one here in the Chinese, remember it gave me problems and I had to try and grease it up and make it work. It worked, but not fantastic. This one fits in there, and I could have used it, but except for I don't know if the Chinese put it in the wrong spot or whatever, but it's 1/2 mil wider than that, so it fits. The Honda one won't fit in there. This one will fit in the Honda one. So that 1/2 millimeter, it just means it doesn't slide so well. So I had to then make this one fit, which was my original idea all along. So just to give you an idea what it looks like. Come on. Now it's playing up on me. Now we work. So you can see how I've re-drilled it. I a lot of mucking around to mark it. I'm going to cut the ends off there and make it smooth and give it a bit of paint with some heat paint, but I've redone it. And see also these brakes here have this weird thing. The only reason I can think that it exists is to take the pressure off those pins, and if it goes too much, because that slides, see that? It's not really touching it, but if you put a lot of pressure on it, it will transfer the load to that. Also, just in there's that raised section, the pad would transfer the load to that as well. So I think it's just a bit of a backup to take some of the pressure off the pins, where the Chinese one doesn't have that at all. Like it's not there. Not so, there's plenty of brakes just like this, but that just seems to have another little level of dealing with pressure. So it works. There's a lot of mucking around, a lot of testing, and it's not quite in the same spot. I had to move it slightly in, otherwise that gap wouldn't be enough. But I played with enough. By moving that one in there, I can move that one in there, just to move the whole lot up slightly and in. It works, it lines up nicely. It's a little bit cocked on the bottom further in, but it's nothing to worry about. So that's what I've done. I'll show you that little bit about the mirror. The master cylinder had, which happens, a reverse thread for the mirror. And the Honda CT ones, which are a little bit special in respect to they go out quite wide so you can see around them. And I didn't want to mix up mirrors, so that was a reverse thread, where the Honda one's a normal thread both sides. So what I did is I got the old JB World and I cleaned it out, packed it in there really tight, let it go off, got a 8.8 millimeter drill to suit a 8, and I tapped it. Now, let's see if I can get that focused. Whoops. It won't do it. Anyway, there it is. That looks like as good as all metal. I'm just outside, and these are the brake pads I got with the bike. And see, they have their little lines and marks because it was a different disc to what I'm putting them on. So they've worn a groove and stuff like that. See how they're nice and clean? All you got to do, give them a little bit of a rub. It's all gone. takes all the crap off there, and that'll reseat to my discs now.